Hey there, and welcome. Let's talk about something kind of radical. What if I told you that your future isn't built by what you do, but by what you imagine? Seriously, the idea that reality isn't just something that happens to us, but something our own mind, our consciousness actually creates. Let's dive into how that works.
That's a pretty bold statement, right? It goes against everything we're taught about success. The grind, the hustle, all that hard work. But what if the most powerful tool for building the life you want isn't your hands at all, but what's going on inside your head? That's the big question we're going to tackle. So, this connection between our inner world and our outer reality, it's honestly one of life's biggest mysteries. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how those scenes we paint in our minds can literally become the world we end up living in.
Okay, to really see how this works in the real world, let's look at a really powerful personal story. Because this isn't just some abstract theory. For the author we're looking at, this has been a lived reality. Not once, but twice.
And it all starts right here. Not with some complicated business plan or a 5-year goal, but with a simple childhood daydream. Just a pure, simple vision of a beautiful world imagined while watching the sunset.
And here's where it gets wild. The first payoff. 30 years later, that daydream, it became his destination. He literally found himself living in the exact place he had spent all those years imagining, a place he'd only ever been to in his mind. So what did that life actually look like? Well, get this. What's so amazing here is how specific it all was. This wasn't some vague wish for a nice house. No way. It was a super detailed vision. A large villa, a private pool you could use all year, even 2 big dogs playing in the yard. And he lived this exact life for 16 years, happy, comfortable, and totally free.
But wait, the story doesn't even end there. This wasn't just some one-time fluke or a lucky break. The author used the exact same principle a second time to create a life that was even more perfect.
And this just takes it to a whole other level. Imagine this, a 3-story house backed up against a huge ancient forest and facing this massive lake, a balcony with views of snow-capped mountains, a life just filled with peace, watching fish and wild ducks from your window. And again, and this is the most important part, all of this was imagined in detail long before it ever became his reality.
Okay, so this all sounds absolutely incredible, right? But it brings up a huge question, probably the one you're thinking right now. If it's this powerful, why isn't everyone living in their dream home? Why do so many of our own daydreams and goals just fizzle out?
Yeah, let's just put it out there. Can anyone just imagine what they want into existence? This is the big roadblock, right? It's the point where most of us get skeptical or we try it for a bit and then just give up. And the answer, which might surprise you, is yes. The principle itself is totally real and it works for everyone. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive catch, and it has everything to do with what you're actually imagining.
Okay, so here's the absolute key difference. On one hand, you've got what we can call worldly imagination. This is the stuff that fills most people's heads. Scheming to make more money, trying to become a big shot, chasing fame, or even wanting to get back at someone. But then on the other hand, you have pure imagination. And that's totally different. It's the quiet, calm, heartfelt vision of a beautiful future. Just like that childhood daydream we talked about. They are operating on completely different channels.
So why does that worldly kind of imagining usually fail? Well, there are 2 big reasons. First, there's a lack of what you could call blessings or merit. Think of it like a spiritual bank account that you build up with good actions. And second, there's something called the law of zero sum. Basically, if your imagination is all about taking from the world and not about giving or contributing, there's just no energy there to make it a reality. It's not a balanced equation. All right, so if that worldly imagination is basically a dead end, how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate the kind of pure imagination that works? Well, it turns out there are some specific conditions you need to create inside yourself, like preparing the soil for a garden so your dreams can actually grow. It really boils down to 3 key things. First, it all starts with your inner state, just being pure, simple, and kind. Second, you have to treat your mind like a garden. You got to actively pull out the weeds, things like negativity, jealousy, and greed. And third, store your treasures in heaven. What that really means is focus your energy on things that have real, lasting value, not just on stuff that's going to disappear. Wow, that is such a powerful way to think about it, isn't it? All those things society tells us to chase, money, power, fame, they can be traps. They look so good, so tempting, just like the bait on a fishhook. But really, they're designed to catch you, to trap your mind in this endless cycle of just wanting more and more and more. And this brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. Because really, this isn't just about getting a nice house. It's about something much, much deeper. It's about understanding the very nature of our lives and figuring out what truly matters. So let's just pause on this for a second. I'm serious. If tomorrow was your last day on Earth, what could you actually take with you? Think about it. Everything you own, all your accomplishments, what actually comes with you to whatever is next? The answer's pretty sobering when you think about it. Your car, your house, the money in your bank account, none of it. It all stays here. The only thing you truly own, the only thing you get to keep forever, is what's inside your own consciousness. Your thoughts, your kindness, your wisdom, the love you've shared. And here's the final, profound piece of the puzzle. Whatever you value the most, whatever you fill your mind with, that is your real treasure. And your soul, your consciousness, is naturally going to go wherever your treasure is. So if your treasure is all just worldly stuff, well, your consciousness stays tied to this world. But if your treasure is something more beautiful, more spiritual, then that's your destination. So let's end with this question for you to think about. Knowing that your imagination is literally the blueprint for your future, what are you building? Take a look inside, right now. Is the garden of your mind overgrown with weeds of worry and desire for stuff? Or are you quietly, consistently, and purely imagining the beautiful world you truly want to live in? Because the choice and all the power that comes with it is completely up to you.